Welcome. What's going on? We have a hot topic today. Sarah Harris, should we do a cheers? I know you were busy making things happen with technology.
Yes, all the tech. We got lots of designers joining us. Hello, hello. First Option Upholstery.
Oh, hello. Hi, Franco.
Julie Reinhardt.
Hi, guys.
Sandra Funk Interiors. Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. What's happening? So good to see you. All right, so hot topic. We're talking about pricing your design services. And I think one of the things that we talk about all the time in the standard and within our team and everything, and with the designers that we chat with, is that our model is based on 15 years of trying it every which way and then finally landing on a model that makes our clients really, really happy and feel really secure and compensates us for our efforts and our art. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit for you today. And please, 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 Sarah Harris is sitting here with me, socially distanced but drinking, and she's going to be fielding questions. So lob them out there. If they're totally, if we have more than we can answer today, we will track them and answer them in a future design zips. You know how we do. So, or we'll get back to you and DM us, whatever it is. But please send over your questions and clarifying points, whatever you need, okay?
Yes, and definitely you can comment what you're drinking.
Oh yeah. Is anyone else in need of a glass of vino this afternoon? Or is it just me?
Yeah,
it was a real necessity today.
I'm with you there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, we had a lot of little things going on.
Yes.
I love you.
Unexpected potential clients, which I will never complain about.
Never. Some good potential clients right now. Some presentations today. Installations, punch list stuff, which you know is tense and scary, but it all works out in the end. It always has for the last 20 years in design. We always get to the end, right? There's always a solution, but it can be a very tough time. And just looking forward, I know I owe you guys an update. Please, all of you people who live in the Nashville area or Middle Tennessee, please keep reaching out to me. I'm so excited to come to your area and to get to know all the designers local there and just working on building our dream home south of Nashville. And I'm not going to be there until 2021, but just getting acclimated, getting to know you all, figuring out who of you I've been speaking to for years and didn't even realize was going to be in our new expanded neighborhood. So super excited about that. Of course, we're still doing the Jersey Strong thing. No plans of going anywhere from that standpoint. My husband and I both are going to continue to work out of the New York, New Jersey area and be back and forth. So we're in for the long haul in New Jersey as well. So adding a location, not moving the business at all. All right. Start firing questions at me. Let's talk about pricing models.
Okay, and I want to thank Jody Owen Design. She says, thank you for all the value you bring, Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks
for being here.
Joining. Yeah, so, and quickly before we jump in, we have over 20 designers with us. Please comment, do you do flat fee or hourly or another model that we might not talk about?
Yes, give us a quick one. Give us like your high level 2-word how you do it.
And Sumptuous Living says we price both ways, but are trying to move mostly into project based.
Okay, so I would say that's probably a flat fee.
Yes, Sandra Fox Interior says hourly.
Hi, Sandra.
All right, keep them coming, guys. Okay,
good.
so
Thanks, guys.
Pricing is a hot topic.
Yep.
But why is it such a hot topic? Like we always have designers coming to us talking about pricing, asking us, what do you think that's about?
I think it's because there was so many years where it was taboo to discuss, right? It was a complete mystery behind the box. And I always say that for many years in my industry, a client of mine who interviewed multiple designers knew so much more about how our industry was pricing interior design than I knew as a designer. Because we all kind of live in our own little silo as designers. I can talk to my employees and what they, if they worked at different firms and if I've worked at different firms. We can obviously bring our experiences to it, but there isn't a standard in our industry for how things are priced. And what I understand from speaking to clients over the years is that it is the Wild West. There are a million ways to do it, and there is a real lack of clarity. So there are times when I think there's like an old example I told on Design Sips many moons ago, where a client said to me, I loved meeting with you. I love how organized you are. I love your portfolio, but you are 5 or 10 times more than the other people giving me bids for this job. And A, I fell out of my chair, and B, okay, either they're not charging their worth and they are doing this as a .org, not a profit-seeking business, or there's a lack of clarity on how their fees work because they're not seeing the full picture. Part of what we love with our flat fee is that we do give the full number up front. We are giving them our full fee to do the work, from concept to final installation, as well as giving our clients an average budget that has been spent on a room of your size in the past. Now, the combination of these two numbers really gives them a full picture. It's simple. Do I value interior design to this level? And can I afford this level? And if they're able to answer that question before we all get into bed for the 11 to 18 months that a project, or 3 years if you're building from scratch and starting at zero, that a project takes, that saves everyone, right? I mean, there's nothing worse than being down the stream with a client and them realizing that they're out of cash. Or, just having that discussion up front clears up everything, right? So it's the matter of, are you able to have that discussion up front because you know those numbers up front? And that's what I went and sought out and think tanked and hired a strategist and a lawyer and worked with my internal finance person to just solve. We went into it with the intention to solve this problem of confusing fees, just lack of clarity on what this was going to cost, all of those details. We really wanted to clear the clutter and the mystery, and we wanted to come in with like really clear numbers. So we worked with our data that we've been collecting over, at that time, 10 years in business. We're rolling into 15 this November. And I can say with such clarity that when you use your historic numbers and you project forward, you're working with the law of averages. You're gonna have some that are a little bit better than a little less, whatever. But what you're never gonna do is shave a couple hours off that bill or apologize for how much things cost, because you've already set that up from the beginning, and they're either with you or they're not. And so it's a really clear, concise conversation to have.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to talk about how quickly you can turn a proposal around now with your new flat fee pricing because of the spreadsheet you created to do so.
Yeah, so when this was all said and done, we created basically a flat fee calculator. So we can put in the square footage of the job, right? So we can talk about scale, because not every living room is born equal. Bedroom, etc. And then we can also talk about the level of service needed from a design, build, renovate, partial furnishings, full furnishings standpoint. And then we can also look at the furnishings. So both design fee to those different levels, and furnishing/build budgets to those different levels. And so being able to pop in square footage and out comes a number means I can put together a proposal for a client within minutes. Yeah, minutes. Yeah. So I remember the days of like sitting down, of course with the template of like, we've done this before, we know what this is going to look like, but then we have to do the elevations for this room. Okay, then we have to pick 2 sconces for that room and 1 light fixture, so that's going to be a couple hours each, and then this and then that, and like, what? Yeah. You know, like, you're at the mercy of you forgetting something. You're at the mercy of something getting added later that you absolutely want to do, but like, now do you come back? Is there an additional fee? Did you undercut yourself? Do you not have it right? The biggest hesitation with flat fees is, will I get the numbers right? Will I undercut myself? And so what we developed, again, strategist, Ashley, all things numbers, lawyer, what we came up with and really think tanked and now have proven, used, proven, systematized, etc., is a method that lets you be comfortable to design a room and let it unfold and have the budget and the coverage that you need to have great ideas. That, when you're doing that, how many hours am I going to need? And then later you have an idea for this amazing mural that's going to take you an extra 10 or 15 hours of working with the artist and having samples and da-da-da. And you're like, oh God, when you really think about it, do I even want to tell the client about this amazing idea because I didn't put enough money in my flat fee and I don't really have coverage for all this? No, you want to figure out a way to propose a flat fee that will allow you to be your best version of a designer, right? You want to give the best design possible to your clients every single time. And so this structure also creates freedom within that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And this calculator that she speaks of is inside the standard, which is Sandra's digital program, which we will get into later, but wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, so obviously my whole thing was after think tanking it and coming up with it and getting everything all settled, both a beautiful contract that explains it, a potential client process that walks them through it line by line, as well as the calculator and all the things that go with it to make that execution work, to control the scope, to control the edits and the decision making and to make sure that it works. It's too much detail to even get into in a design tips, but that's what we kind of decided we didn't want to. It didn't make sense for us to have done all that work and put all that effort in and really have something that we just think works like a miracle. It's just so clear and concise, and then keep it all to ourselves. So that was the impetus for the standard.
Yes, interiordesignstandard.com.
Yep, check it out.
So Julie Reinhardt commented, trying to switch to flat fee after 10 years.
Yes.
Corin Victoria Design, hourly. I'm brand new.
Welcome to our crazy industry. It's the most fun ever.
Yes, De Beer Designs, have done them all. I don't like hourly. Amanda, hourly or by square foot. Honeycomb, hourly, but we would like to move to flat fee. 5 Design Interior, depends on the project, but thinking about moving to flat fee. And so many more people. Thank you so much for commenting.
Thanks, guys. Awesome to hear. Yeah, I think that's... it wasn't simple, right? To come up with, to make sure that we felt covered, to make sure that we had the right mix. It's not necessarily simple, but once it's done, it is very clear. So we love it. We've worked that system many times, and it's also incredible how our budgets, our furnishings investment estimate, how accurate it is. And it's because we're constantly adding to our data and refining, and it is a really accurate measure of what's going to happen, what it takes to finish a room.
Yeah, and so we have a great question. Jody says, love your flat fee approach. Still in the first year of business, so I'm still building that history you speak of. To come up with a flat fee feels aligned, but also covers me to come up with a fee that feels aligned. Tips?
Yeah, tons of tips. Definitely track all of that data. It is so important to have that to reference. If you don't have that data, we do, inside of the standard, we have case studies and we have some really good exercises to help you even look at your own home and kind of go, okay, my room is X by Y, and this table costs this and that table costs that, and maybe you don't have an ideal room decorated to the level that you hope to design for clients, so then maybe you take your wish list and you price that, and then you can kind of start to understand what it's going to take. And then from the design fees, it really is helpful to have had some data on how long it takes you to put a room together to be able to do a flat fee and what that looks like.
Yeah. She says the answer is, I need the design standard. LOL. Cheers.
Well, it is a huge catapult forward, I will tell you.
Yes. And so Sandra asks, are the spreadsheets or the calculator editable? For example, if we want to increase or decrease our cost or estimated budget for goods.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, everything is a editable soft template.
Yeah.
And so from my email templates that you're going to, of course, get in there and add your own personality to. Same thing with any of our budget spreadsheets or our flat fee calculator. I am not going to go to jail for price setting, right? So it's not to say that I'm telling you exactly the number that it should be for a living room or a living room of XYZ size or anything like that. I'm giving you the tools and showing you exactly how to figure out what your pricing metrics should be so that you can build the calculator that fits your level of design, your level of expertise, your attention to detail and the level to which you take your design, your years in business, the location you live in, if you're in a great big metropolis or out in the burbs, whatever it is. All of this pricing is not becoming fixed, it's becoming standardized in how it's done.
Awesome.
Yeah, no jail time for me.
Yeah.
I was like working with my lawyer, I'm like, we need to make sure that this is very, very clear. She's like, oh yes, we do. Okay.
Yes. But we have awesome case studies for those of you who don't have a lot of experience, and also a Facebook group. When you join, you're getting access to designers with upwards of 30 years in business who you get to bounce ideas off of.
Exactly. And that conversation is really hard to have with other designers. Like, thank goodness the industry is not like it was when I first joined, where everything was, no one talks to anyone. But there are times when I'll speak to another designer and I'm talking about flat fees based on a per square foot historic data, and someone else is talking about an hourly rate plus maybe a different, like a commission structure or whatever. So it's like really hard to compare apples to apples. And of course, if we can't do it and we understand interior design, think of how hard it is for our potential clients to do it, to really reconcile and understand what all these different models mean to them and what that looks like to them. I've been told time and time again, it is very, very clear what it will take to work with me. And it's just a very, like, they're not, the financial implications of working with me is extremely clear. The aesthetic implications is extremely clear. You know, we put our portfolios on our website. And then it's about, are we a fit? You know, are we going to be good together? Like, is this the right fit for us personality-wise, speed-wise, tone-wise, and of course aesthetic and financial. But the more that you can be clear and the more that you can remove barriers to entry, absolutely the better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And everyone says thank you for the advice.
Thank you guys. Thanks for being here.
The Fabric Shield said we talked about the design standard on our IFDA Philly Zoom today.
Thank you so much. You guys are an incredible supportive group. Thank you, Fabric Shield.
Yes, everyone go check out the Fabric Shield.
Yes.
So Leslie says, last project I did a flat fee for design and a cost plus for purchasing. Mm-hmm. So
And how did that go?
Yeah.
Let us know. How did that go?
Now we have over 30 designers with us, so if you're new,
designers.
comment.
Yes, okay, so welcome those of you who just got here. I am Sandra Funk from House of Funk. We are talking about pricing interior design today. This is Design Sips, where we randomly talk about the business side of interior design and drink a little wine on Wednesday afternoons. If you're on the West Coast, you might be still in coffee mode, but cheers to those with whatever it is that's in your cup.
Yes, and check out past episodes on our YouTube channel or on our IGTV.
Yeah, lots of that.
Yeah.
Lots of me in this shirt. Sorry, it's a fave. Today was like a real day with like the mothering and the family and the household and the things going on. So yeah, it is what it is.
Good. It's a great shirt.
Oh, thanks.
And Leslie responded, it was well received by the client and I was happy not to track hours.
Yes, very good. Now, I do like to track hours because I like to keep putting those hours spent on a project into my little spreadsheet where I make sure, where I'm tracking how many hours did we spend on that project, how much time, how much money was actually spent in the budget at the end of the day, and how much square footage was covered in that project, because that keeps my numbers and my fee calculator accurate. Right? Mm-hmm. So as we, a couple of years ago, we made the jump from meh art to like beautiful art. So much has changed with the way we source art direct from galleries or direct from artists now. Thank you, internet, always. And so when we made that leap, it's not necessarily a huge number jump, but it was a little bit of a number jump. And it allowed us, by tracking every project when it closes, by the hours spent, the money spent, and the per square footage, to know that if we're going to keep pushing towards real art, we needed to just oomph our budgets up a little bit in that price point. So it's things like keep tracking that data that's really good. Now, it's different, right? It's tracking the time that you spend per project, not justifying this time that you spend per project. It's a very different mindset. So I just jot down the project code, the room I'm working on, if I'm defined by rooms, if not whole house, and the time I spend. And I'll sometimes put it into, like, am I in conceptual design or detailed design or purchasing execution? And that data is so valuable. That's the data that allowed us to do what we do with the standard. And that data will keep us accurate over time because things become more expensive naturally, right? Like, things change. So, that's important to track, but it is such a different mindset than writing down your time in a client justifiable way, right? Instead of saying client code, phase I'm in and number of hours, I'd be writing out, all these things that we're trying to feel client facing and justifications and like, done, I'm done. I think we get into it a little bit about like, don't even consider talking to me about ever charging hourly again for anything. It was such a pain in my booty that I almost left this industry altogether.
Yeah, and so funny that you say that because someone asked, should e-design be priced hourly or flat?
Flat, always flat. Yes, flat fee, and then you have to kind of do your work to figure out what that number should be, and then get more and more and more efficient with every one that you do. Which brings up a great point. One of my favorite points, right? When you do an hourly model, as you gain years in the industry and as you gain experience and as you know the exact sofa for that and you know exactly what sconce you want there and you know the artist you're going to go to see what's current for that feature wall there, you become more efficient. And when you're pricing hourly, that means you become quicker, right? So I don't get it. Are you going to make less because you're more efficient? No. So a flat fee program also incentivizes you to become more and more efficient while getting paid fabulously for it, right? Because we want to become more efficient and get it done quicker. E-design is a great example. The first couple you do, I would try to break even. And then just knowing that you're going to get better and better and better at it and more efficient at it.
Yeah, and so I know we get a question a lot about... we don't charge for that initial consultation, but if I do paid consultations, should I do flat or hourly?
Again, I would never... So once you take hourly off the table, you can never tie yourself to an hourly rate again, because obviously, we work in the Northeast so much where everybody's in finance, and they are running that number in their head right out the gate, right? So the minute you commit to doing a flat fee is the minute you stop justifying yourself based on time spent. Instead, you move to what they call value-based fees. And I've read about 1 million books on it, and that's why I became obsessed and literally put my business on hold for 3 months while I spent a ton of money on this think tank to try to come up with this flat fee, a model that would make everyone happy, myself and clients included. And all of those things that I've read about flat fee and how to charge was all about positioning, right? So instead of paying for your time, like you're a busboy, we're paying for your art because you bring something extra to a project. You're not just delivering a sofa. They could go get a sofa from anywhere, like drive down the street, pick a store. Anyone can get them a sofa. You're giving them art, right? You're giving them the right sofa that goes with the end table, that looks good with that pink color, that has those pillows on it, the alchemy. It's that all the ingredients come together in a unique and special way. If they just want a sofa, they don't need an interior designer, okay? If they just want a sofa, they need to walk themselves into a store and point at a sofa and go forth. They're paying you for your art, for your vision, for your execution, for your efficiency, for your contacts and connections into the great trades, vendors, and resources that you have. They're paying you for access to trade-only resources and custom furnishings that it's really hard to get as a person who's just driving down the road, right? They're paying you to solve problems of architecture, function, flow, all the things. So price yourself accordingly. When we put out an hourly rate in any way, shape, or form, Even if it's just to do a couple of little extra things. Oh, I'll just charge you hourly for that. You've then taken the original flat fee that you gave them and you've downgraded it to time, because it's an easy calculation for them to figure out how many hours you think that's going to be worth to them. So you are not your hours spent. You are the cumulative brilliance of design.
Cheers. And I said this last episode.
Cheers.
And I think people relate, but if you need a little Sandra on your upper shoulder motivating you daily, it's not available in this form. But there's other ways you can access this brilliance and motivation. And I'd love for you to share your Picasso analogy.
Oh, yes. So someone told me, one of my amazing coach told me this Picasso story, and I love retelling it. I have no idea if it's even accurate, but I love it. And it works for me. Picasso's walking down the street, it's Paris. He's walking by one of those gorgeous little bookstore kiosks, and there's a bridge up ahead, and there's all the gorgeous lights of the city, and he runs into a super fan, who literally runs up to him and stops him in the street and says, "Would you please, I would pay you whatever it takes, would you sketch me? It would be my honor. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my luck at running into you," right? So Picasso says, "Yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah." So she rips a page out of the little book that she just bought from the bookseller, and he, takes her pen, and he takes a minute, and he looks at her, and he sketches something, and looks at her, okay, signs it, and he hands it back to her, and he says, "That'll be $5,000. And she's like, "Excuse me? I mean, what? That took you 2 minutes. That's, like how he does that, like interpretive, like a line and it's your face." And he said, "Yes, darling, but I'm Picasso." That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's not about the amount of time it took him. It's about the brilliance inside. It's about the artist that you are and the mix that you bring. So, love that.
Yeah,
Picasso doesn't charge by the minute, and neither do you.
Yeah, and you can hit the heart button in the bottom right corner to show some love. I would, but I can't from my end. Lots more of designers joining us, so thank you, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
This is Design Sips with Sandra Funk.
Yes, we're talking about the business of interior design while having a little libation, because, it's hump day, it's after 4, and it just feels right, frankly.
Cheers.
All right, cheers, y'all. So, what are your questions and burning concerns? Do you want to stop sending out time bills? Because I know I used to have a wrenching, upset stomach every 2 weeks when I would have to review everyone's timesheets. Mm-hmm. I would have to massage the description of what time was spent where. I would have to try to get into the mindset of my client, and I would have to push back on my team and say, "Did you really spend 7 hours on an 8-hour day on the 21st on XYZ?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, I left early that day. We went to the stone yard, then we went here, then we went there, and I was all day long, I was on it, and then I barely took a break for lunch, and I actually worked, 9 hours that day." But I would be so in the mindset of a client who's going to question me that I was questioning my team, instead of looking at their gorgeous design and spending my time reviewing the brilliance that is the designs that they're putting together, right? So this shift has been everything. To go from someone who is massaging timesheets and having EBS over sending out time bills to someone who is focused on design. We negotiate if they're going to hire me or not in the beginning, and then that is it. There's not a lot of other discussions around that. It's like I always say, when you buy an engagement ring, right? It sucks. It's a huge investment. You probably labor over that decision and hem and haw and decide and yada, and then you make the decision and it's behind you, right? It's like every time you look at your ring, you don't see a dollar sign, or your husband looks at your ring, you don't see a dollar sign, you see it's behind you. It's a decision that's made and it's passed. So when you have a flat design fee that's paid up front, you are taking that off the table as a constant discussion and a constant stressful conversation that runs the entire length of the project. They hire you or they don't. They pay you in full before they see the designs or they don't. That's it.
So yeah, we have Sumptuous Living says, that was me. I think when you were talking about having to go through all the time bills and question the
right?
team and, you know.
Right, and spending a ton of time massaging, just saying it just so that it would be accepted without question.
So Allison Ruda asks a great question. How do you avoid sticker shock with flat fee?
I don't. Not at all. It's unavoidable. People do not know what interior design costs. They don't know what it costs from a design fee standpoint, and they don't know what it costs to furnish a room. That is my cross to bear. Educate them, walk them through with very detailed presentation exactly what my role is in their renovation, their build, their project, their design, and demonstrate my value to them than I would to pull the wool over their eyes with a low hourly rate and then have them I'd rather have the shock up front than the shock at the end, right? So I've been in a situation where we were running it hourly and we were doing a huge home and the bills were just mounting and we were integral to that project and the client could see that, but they still could not swallow those invoices every month coming in. It was just too much to bear, but it was like a runaway train. They were totally feeling out of control. This flips it. They are in complete control. Do they value design and value what I bring to the table enough to pay that number? Yes or no? That's it. And then that conversation's over and we're off to the beauty. We're off to the project management. We're off to do great design.
The designer who asked the question says, expectation and education makes a lot of sense. And like you said, demonstrate value and have that combo up front just once.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And some big whale comes in, they want to do the whole house. You're talking about huge numbers. You might have that conversation 4 times before they hire you. But once they hire you, they've made a decision. And that's putting the ball in their court in a very respectful way, right? Instead of dripping out those time bills, you're really giving them that decision with their full knowledge up front. And I feel very good about that every time we do it.
Yeah.
Even when we get a no. Even when they're like, whoa, that is way more than we expected, we are out. I feel confident that we just avoided a really stressful working relationship. And I'm sorry to see them go, especially if they were lovely or the project was lovely. But if I'm not the right fit for them financially, then they need to know that right away. That shouldn't be something that comes up 6 months into the project.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've seen on the other end, I do more business back end, and I can tell you everyone's much more chill and relaxed when you get to deliver the fees this way. And
versus the days of time billing?
Yeah, yes, 100%.
Do you remember we used to send out time bills and then wait for the phone to ring?
Yes.
Because it happens.
And
phone calls start rolling in.
We have over 40 designers with us today.
Hi, designers.
If you're just joining, know that this episode's being recorded and will be on our IGTV right after.
Yes, so you can catch up. But in case you just got here, again, this is Design Sips. We are talking about the business of design. I'm Sandra Funk. You're all caught up. Grab a glass of something, anything, and cheers to you.
And I thought we should share, we recently had a designer in the Standard who I don't think typically was pricing her projects flat fee, and she just priced a beautiful lake house new build. And do you want to share what the outcome of that was and kind of the mindset to get there?
Yeah, well, and I think it was, so I'm going to back up and tell one other story. You did a poll at one point in the private Facebook group of the Standard members. And it was like, okay, guys, how many of you are moving forward with flat fee or sticking with hourly if you were hourly in the beginning? And we had one dissenter, one designer who was like, I just think the way I do it is hourly, things, right? Makes sense, totally. And then the designers started commenting, right? They started commenting the wins, the freedom, the joy, right? We're talking about joy and efficiency back in our businesses. Efficiency being clarity up front. And I think, again, think about the hours that you spend massaging time bills before they go out. That's inefficient, right? We know, especially if the client has asked you, what are we talking? What are these design fees going to end up being? And you have to go and make that guess anyway. Well, now you've just set an upper limit because that's not good business to go past your guests. So what have you done? You've given yourself an upper limit of what you can charge. You're charging hourly, so you're still going to have to go to battle every 2 weeks, every month, whatever, however it is, how regularly you send out invoices. And you only have downside because it's not a flat fee, and you're not going to come in right at that number that you gave them as an estimate of what this is going to cost. So you've only got downside if you're giving an estimate and you're doing hourly. So if you can come up with an estimate of what you think it's going to cost, then you can come up with a flat fee, right?
Yeah.
But I can show you how to do it with complete and total confidence. That is the biggest word that we've heard from members of the standard. Confidence, right? In our testimonials,
yes,
in
definitely.
the, would you do it again if you could, go back, would you do it again? It's confidence. It's confidence to price fair, accurate design fees. It's confidence to state that fee to the clients and let them decide, do I value and can afford your services or not? There's so much freedom in that. And to not take it personally, you've given them the full story. They already called you because they liked your aesthetic or something about you or something they've seen in you, right? Take that compliment and then be thrilled when they hire you and be okay when they don't. I swear it's the best case.
Yes,
right?
yes. And
okay, tell the story about the lake house. I totally went off script.
No. And I do want to add that a lot of them were charging hourly, and then after taking the standard and that pricing module specifically, they really felt like they had the tools to confidently price the project. So seeing that transition of I used to charge hourly, now because of the standard I can charge flat fee, it's really awesome to see these designers gain that confidence back.
Huge. And they're getting contracts, they're signing clients, and we circled back a couple of weeks later and our one dissenter who wasn't charging hourly was like, you guys are right. I need to take the plunge. I'm going to do it. So
so 100%.
A lot of encouragement, a lot of community, a lot of support.
Yes. And so if you missed it, we're talking about the Facebook group Interior Design Standard, the members who have taken and enrolled in the Interior Design Standard, which is Sandra's digital program. And it opens for enrollment soon.
September 16th, so soon. So please, if you're not on our list, please get on it. You can go to houseoffunk.com and then go to the trade tab to get more info and to get on the list so you don't miss the opening.
Yes.
We're only going to be open for enrollment for about 10 days this time.
13 days.
13 days this time.
But short, and then not open again until 2021.
Right. Yes, so we still, and I get asked all the time, why are you only open for a couple of, 10 days or 13 days? It's because we still have an interior design firm to run.
Yep.
And we want to
work
with our clients.
Serve the current members the best. We don't want to be launching all the time.
Yes. And I know from all the many courses and programs I've taken over the years, because I'm a lifelong learner myself, that having a sense of community and knowing that there's a group that's going through it together is really, really helpful. So this allows us to create kind of those groupings of designers going through it.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't even understand how good that is until you're in it and you're all talking about your businesses apples to apples.
Yes, I'm not a designer and it's still my favorite Facebook group to be in. So also guys, my phone is going to die at some point and there's so many good questions coming in. So I do want to encourage you, if you get on our close friends list, DM us
right.
And we will answer every single question.
Yes.
On Close Friends.
We have like kind of an inner circle group of interior designers only on our close friends Instagram group. And in that, I'll go in sometimes just like on a random day and answer DM questions that we get from people. So if you'd like to be in that close friends group where we kind of have an inside look, private conversation about the business of interior design, DM me right now. Just say, I'm in. I want the group. Put me in the close friends. And there's so much more of like this, but just quick one-off answers to questions as we go. We love that group. Do you hear my dog? He just came in the room. This is COVID. We work from home now.
Yes. Okay, and then quickly I'm going to scroll.
Hi, Pooch.
Oh, someone asked, what's the lake story? LOL, dying to hear.
Oh, yeah. Sarah Harris, you got to tell the lake story.
So, like I said, a designer was pricing on a project for the first time, flat fee, a new build, which you're talking like big numbers for a new build. And we were on a Zoom call and she was like, I'm really hesitant to send this out. Like, I feel like I should break it down more. I feel like I should bring the numbers down. And all the designers, including our team too, were encouraging her to send it.
My favorite moment in this Zoom call was when one of the designers was like, obviously we're all staring at our computer screens, right? We're on Zoom calls. And she's like, is there a computer nearby? Could we all be with you when you hit send, like right now? And I was like, yes, do it.
And then a couple days later, she wrote in the Facebook group that she closed the client and to pop the bubbly.
And yeah, the support went wild because you can only imagine when one of the designers in your kind of group uses the program and closes a new client. It's so fun to have people to celebrate with. And I know from being a solo who then built a team that when you are a solo designer, it can be a lonely moment. And I don't know if, if it's nice to celebrate with a group. It's nice to have that support.
Yeah, definitely.
Really fun.
So, Sandra, how often should you reevaluate your flat fee?
So, what I do is every time I wrap a project, I add those metrics to my kind of fee calculator spreadsheet, and it's a double check for me. It's like it's a nice way to say, yep, we're still on track. This is all still working. So, you can set it up once, and then again, every time you wrap a project, just check it. Just do a little double check on that.
Do you get your flat fee up front or in stages as the project evolves?
So I take half to kick off the project, so at the time that they sign the design agreement, and then I take the other half about 2 weeks prior to the first presentation. So we deal in intellectual capital, right? Which means once I tell you my ideas for your space, I can't get them back if you decide you don't want to pay anymore. So we need to be paid in full for our design genius before we deliver that genius. We are in the business of ideas, and then we move into purchasing and execution where we become project managers. But in the beginning, that first flat design fee really does need to be collected in full prior to presentations.
Awesome. And we'll do some more rapid fire.
Yeah.
How do you factor in the cost of help on install day? Handyman, art installation, is that part of the design fee or an extra line item on the furnishings cost?
So we build that into our budgets right from the beginning. We know every project involves hanging art, blocking for mirrors if they're going to be heavy, whatever. And that's kind of what conceptual design is all about for us, that first phase of the project. Hashing out exactly what's going to go on to make this project sing, and then getting ballpark numbers from all of our trades and vendors to execute that project, all the way down to art installation and hanging. And that goes into that budget, and that is what we meet with the client in the conceptual design meeting to go over. This is when they're seeing kind of the whole concept for the space together, they're seeing the layout, the functional flow of everything, and they're seeing an investment estimate. So what we commonly call the budget, but we like to talk about investing in our home, not limiting with a budget. So they see that investment estimate, and that helps all of us to make sure that we're on the same page. We set what we're going to invest in that project together with our client at that point. Setting that number too early in the project means that you can't have the dreams and schemes, right? You can't come up with an amazing extra idea because the budget's limiting you away from that. We give them average budget spent on projects of their size and scope in the past as a benchmark when we sign the original design agreement, just to make sure we're in the same stratosphere. But then we set that budget together in conceptual design.
Awesome responses. I'm horrified that my phone's gonna die and that it won't let me post it on IGTV. So let's wrap it. This has been a great episode.
Awesome. So we're going to keep the conversation going. DM me if you want to be in our close friends designer only chit chat. We talk all realtalk.com about interior design business side. And keep the DMs coming. Email me, reach out. I am info@houseoffunk.com, and we will keep this conversation going. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.